kung saan sila matatagpuan. Nandun rin po ang lahat ng kanilang kailangan. Ibig sabihin, nasa habitat ang kailangan nila para mabuhay. May mga maliliit na animals tulad ng mga fox at raccoon. Masaya silang namumuhay sa rainforest na siyang nagbibigay sa kanila ng pagkain. May mga hayop naman na protective sa kanilang habitat tulad ng mga lion. Ang mga lion ay makikita sa savannas at grasslands. Kilala sila bilang king of the jungle. Pero alam nyo ba may mas malaki pa sa lions? Yung mga tiger. Ang mga tiger ay makikita sa mga tropical forest or mangrove swamps kung saan malapit ang tubig at marami silang mahuhuling prey o pagkain. Bukod sa mammals, may animals na naglalakbay sa himpapawid tulad ng mga birds o mga ibon. Makukulay at iba-iba ang anyo nila. Kapag nakita mo, hindi maaalis ang tingin mo sa kanila. At syempre, may mga hayop na ang habitat nila ay tulad ng ocean o dagat. Ang mga hayop sa dagat tulad ng isda ay masayang lumalangoy sa malinis at malinaw na tubig. Pero, ang sabi sa akin ni Lolo, sa panahon ngayon ay unti-unti nang nahihirapan ng mga animals. Naabuso na daw kasi ang iba sa kanila. Ginagawa silang transportasyon o sasakyan ng mga turista. Ang ilan ay pinag-eeksperimentuhan o di kay pandekorasyon sa tahanan. Naagawan na rin sila ng tirahan at mapagkukunan ng pagkain. At ang malungkot, ang iba ay malapit na mawala ng tuluyan. Mahal ko ang mga animals at ang kalikasan na siyang nagbibigay sa kanila ng kanilang habitat o tirahan at pagkain. Gusto ko pa silang makita sa paglaki ko. Ayokong dumating ang panahon na drawing na lang ang makikita ko at mga alaala na lang sila. Paano na lang mga mas bata pa sa akin? May maaabutan pa ba silang pwedeng i-drawing?
I am Teacher Sally and this is Kid Kwento, one of Net25 Kids' online shows. Kid Kwento is now on TV. You can watch us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 4 to 4:30 p.m. Also watch Anong Sinyo with Ate DJ every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 to 4:30 p.m. Sa Kid Kwento, ang aming motto ay, let's all read to succeed! Hooray! Kita-kita tayo ha! Bye-bye!
Events happen around us all the time. In our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced, eagle news, because we live in interesting times.
Soccer, the world's favorite sport. And it's no wonder. Spectacular goals, plenty of emotion. The best of game day. Kickoff.
In Good Shape, your weekly health show on DW that covers many aspects of healthcare. We look at what's new in medical treatment, nutrition, fitness, and beauty. We discuss these topics in depth with specialists.
Tips time! Some children may have difficulties learning how to write. Some parents may also have trouble teaching kids. Here are a few tips for parents to help small kids write and enjoy doing this activity. Strengthen the hand muscles by playing with clay. Allow kids to draw using pencils and crayons. Encourage kids to use 3 fingers when holding the pencil. Remind them to sit up straight every time they do writing tasks. Praise kids when they finish writing.
We live in interesting times for the headlines. Boeing names board chairman David Calhoun as chief executive and president, saying the company needed to restore confidence and repair relationships with regulators, customers, and all other stakeholders.
Typhoon Phanphone smashed into the central Philippines on Tuesday, ruining holiday plans as thousands were left stranded at ports or told to leave their homes.
South Australia police warned victims of the recent bushfires of possible scam and being targeted and misled in an attempt to gain access to their bank details.
A frantic scramble for gift promotions left a dozen people injured in an Australian mall on Tuesday after hundreds of balloons with prizes inside were dropped on Christmas shoppers gathered below.
Amalma Angeles, wherever you're watching from around the world, thank you very much for joining us.
We welcome our viewers here in the Philippines and around the world. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sam Cepeda.
And now to the news. Boeing fired its embattled chief executive Dennis Muilenburg to restore confidence in the company in the wake of 2 deadly crashes and the grounding of its 737 MAX aircraft. The company said he will be replaced by current chairman David Calhoun effective January 13. Lawrence Kellner, a board member since 2011, is to become non-executive chairman immediately. Boeing said, quote, "Under the company's new leadership, Boeing will operate with a renewed commitment to full transparency, including effective and proactive communication with the FAA or Federal Aviation Administration, other global regulators, and its customers." Now, Boeing has been under intense scrutiny since 2 737 MAX planes crashed within 5 months of each other, first in Indonesia and then in Ethiopia. The 737 MAX fleet has been grounded worldwide since March. Muilenburg's response to the crisis was increasingly criticized as the MAX grounding has dragged on far longer than initially expected, as more disturbing details have come out about the certification of the aircraft and issues with the flight software implicated in both crashes. He also was seen as tone-deaf and awkward towards families of the 346 people killed in the crashes.
All of us at Boeing are deeply sorry for the loss of life in the Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 and Lion Air Flight 610 accidents. We feel the immense gravity of these events, and we recognize the devastation to the families and friends of the loved ones who have perished.
The company said last week it was suspending production of the 737 MAX altogether as regulators prolong a decision on whether to return the aircraft to passenger service. The company had been hoping to have the plane back in the air by the end of this year, but U.S. regulators have made it clear that it would not be certified to return to the skies that quickly. Probes of the two crashes have focused in particular on the Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System, or MCAS, an automated flight control system. Boeing has said the MCAS software system, which relied on a single sensor, received erroneous data which led it to override pilot commands and push the aircraft downwards. Boeing has said it's fixing the software, but U.S. lawmakers who are investigating the company have said the firm was aware that the software system could be unreliable. They've accused the company of trying to hide the risks and rush the plane back into service. Senator Richard Blumenthal said the company needs new leadership across the board who will take safety seriously.
China hosted the leaders of squabbling neighbors South Korea and Japan for their first meeting in over a year on Tuesday, flexing its diplomatic muscle with America's two key military allies in Asia and seeking regional unity on how to deal with a belligerent North Korea. Both Japan and South Korea urged the resumption of talks between Pyongyang and Washington, which have been largely deadlocked since a second summit between President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in Hanoi collapsed at the start of this year.
就我们三方还就国际和地区形势交换了意见，特别是就朝鲜半岛的局势深入交换了意见，重申实现半岛无核化与东亚持久和平是三方的共同目标。我们一致认为，对话协商是解决半島問題唯一有效的辦法。
北朝鮮の完全な非核化に向けて、米朝プロセスを最大限後押ししていくことが重要と述べました。そのためにも、関連安保理決議の確実な履行、そして米朝プロセスのモメンタムを維持し続けていくこと。
우리는 한반도의 평화가 삼국의 공동이익에 부합한다는 데 인식을 같이 했고 북미 대화의 조속한 대화를 통해 비핵화와 평화가 실질적으로 진전되도록 함께 노력하기로 했습니다.
The gathering in the southwestern city of Chengdu was held with the clock ticking on the threatened, I quote, Christmas gift from North Korean leader Kim Jong-un that could reignite global tensions over its nuclear program. Kim has promised the unidentified gift, which analysts and our officials believe could be a provocative missile test if the United States does not make concessions in their nuclear talks by the end of the year. The gathering also featured the first bilateral meeting between South Korea's Moon Jae-in and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe in 15 months. The relationship between Japan and South Korea is overshadowed by the 35 years of brutal colonization by the Japanese, including the use of sex slaves and forced labor that is still bitterly resented today. Ties began a downward spiral in recent months after a series of South Korean court rulings ordering Japanese firms to compensate wartime forced labor victims. These infuriated Tokyo, who insisted the matter had been settled by a 1965 treaty between the two countries. Seoul then threatened to withdraw from a key military intelligence sharing pact, although it reversed course in November and agreed to extend it conditionally.
In other news, U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell sparred over the ground rules for President Donald Trump's trial in the Senate on charges of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. Take a look. Speaker Pelosi, the Speaker of the Democratic-controlled House of Representatives, said she's not yet ready to name her team for President Trump's trial in the Republican majority Senate. The House cannot choose our impeachment managers until we know what sort of trial the Senate will conduct, Ms. Pelosi said on Twitter. House managers will prosecute the case against President Trump in the Senate in a trial expected to begin in January. Trump's Republicans have a 53-47 seat edge in the chamber. Now, House Speaker Pelosi has not yet sent the impeachment articles passed by the House last week over to the Senate amid a standoff with Mitch McConnell, Senator Mitch McConnell, over the form the trial will take. Democrats have been pushing for 4 current and former White House aides with direct knowledge of President Trump's Ukraine dealings to testify in the Senate.
Senator McConnell has come up with no good reason why the trial shouldn't have these witnesses or documents. He does a lot of name calling. He does a lot of partisanship. He does a lot of digging back in past history and misstating the case. But he still hasn't answered the question, what is wrong with witnesses? What is wrong with documents? One argument, Leader McConnell, give us one argument why they shouldn't be part of the trial.
The Democratic leader's letter is an interesting document from the very beginning. For example, in the second of its 11 paragraphs, our colleague literally misquotes the Constitution. That error actually aligns with our colleague's apparent confusion about some of the deeper questions. The Democratic leader's letter to me, by way of the press, literally misquoted the Constitution. Senator Schumer wrote that we should exercise, quote, the Senate's sole power of impeachment under the Constitution with integrity and dignity. He attributed to the Senate, quote, the sole power of impeachment. Well, there's his problem, Mr. President. That's the role the Constitution gives actually to the House, not to the Senate. To give it to the House. Article 1, Section 2 says the House of Representatives shall have the sole power of impeachment. Doesn't sound ambiguous to me. If my colleague wants to read about our responsibilities here in the Senate, he needs to turn to the next page. Article 1, Section 3 says the Senate shall have the sole power to try all impeachments. We don't create impeachments over here, Mr. President. We judge them.
A frantic scramble for gift promotions left a dozen people injured in an Australian mall on Tuesday after hundreds of balloons with prizes inside were dropped on Christmas shoppers gathered below. Around 150 people jostled for prime position as 2 massive bags full of balloons hovered overhead in the shopping center in Sydney's western suburbs. When they were opened at midnight, cries went up as the crowd surged forwards, crushing people and knocking over a holiday prop which sent a Santa careening back several meters. Footage of the event shows. Now, New South Wales State Ambulance, 12 people were treated for minor injuries, with 5 taken to hospital with a mixture of leg and ankle injuries, chest pain, and muscular skeletal injuries due to being stepped on. The shopping center management told local media it was investigating the incident.
South Australian police are aware of the con where victims of the recent bushfires are being targeted and they are being misled in an attempt to gain access to their bank details. Bushfire victims had received phone calls from people claiming to be from their bank offering to provide them with disaster relief funds, according to South Australian police. The caller then asks for bank details. Police are urging members of the public not to hand over their bank details to anyone on the phone. Prime Minister Scott Morrison labeled the scammers as scum and attacked their, quote, sick act. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Scott Morrison also announced that public servants taking leave to fight fires will have additional paid leave. A total of 86 fires were still burning through New South Wales as conditions improved, but crews are preparing for dangerous weather later this week. The Bureau of Meteorology says there will be extreme heat wave conditions for much of the country starting from Saturday. Under fire, Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison on Monday rejected calls for reckless and, quote, job-destroying cuts to the country's vast coal industry in the face of a deadly climate-fueled bushfire crisis. Prime Minister Morrison has insisted Australia will meet its 2030 emissions targets. Australia committed at the 2015 UN Climate Summit to reduce its emissions by 26 to 28% below 2005 levels by 2030. Bushfires occur frequently in Australia, but scientists say several weather phenomena have come together to make this spring-summer bushfire season among the worst on record. Record low rainfall, record high temperatures, and strong winds have made the situation more combustible and, according to scientists, are influenced by climate change.
They were expecting it. It's just that
As deadly fires continued raging across Australia, a firefighter was seen aiding a thirsty koala in South Australia on Monday. Footage shows a member of the Oakbank Balana Fire Brigade giving the thirsty marsupial a couple of water bottles during their rescue operations in Cuddly Creek, just northeast of Adelaide City in southwest Australia on Monday. A warning was also issued to the residents to seek shelter as fires were spreading rapidly. At least 9 people were reportedly killed, 2,500 buildings destroyed, and 3,700,000 hectares burnt in the fires in the state in the past months.
Looking at it. If you could work it out, you would have for sure. Did you burn yourself? No, I don't think it's burned. It's just...
Typhoon Fanfon, or Ursula, smashed into the central Philippines on Tuesday, ruining holiday plans as thousands were left stranded at ports or told to leave their homes. It struck the southern tip of the impoverished island of Samar in the afternoon, packing gusts of up to 150 kilometers an hour. Officials said the region's coastal areas, as well as those prone to flooding and landslides, were evacuated, but could not give the exact number of people affected. Coastal areas of Samar and nearby Leyte Island were at risk from giant 2-meter or 6.6-foot waves crashing onto shorelines and should be evacuated. Though much weaker, Ursula, or international name Fanfon, was tracking a similar path as Super Typhoon Haiyan, the country's deadliest cyclone on record, which left more than 7,300 people dead or missing in 2013. The State Weather Service, or PAGASA, said Fanfon, Laotian for an animal, would bring moderate to strong winds over the capital Manila on Wednesday before blowing out into the South China Sea. Let's hear more from PAGASA.
Mapapansin natin yung mata ng bagyong si Ursula ay kitang-kita na dito sa radar images nga ng PAGASA Giwan Radar Station. At dahil din sa lumakas ng bagyong si Ursula, ay nagkaroon na tayo ng mas mataas na warning signal. Umabot na po sa Tropical Cyclone Wind Signal number 3. Tropical Cyclone Wind Signal number 3 nakataas na sa Northern Samar, Eastern Samar, Biliran, Leyte at Camotes Island. Dahil nga ito yung inaasahan nating area na unang tatamaan ng bagyong si Ursula, inaasahan na mas malakas yung hangin na mararanasan dito, posibleng umabot na ng mula 121 hanggang 170 kilometers per hour. Yung lakas ng hangin. Samantala, Tropical Cyclone Wind Signal number 2 nakata sa extreme northern Cebu kasama ang Bantayan Island, Madridejos, Santa Fe, Bantayan, Medellin, San Remigio, Bogo City, Tabogon, Tabuelan, Borbon, San Francisco, Poro, Tudela, Pilar. Ganun din sa northeastern Iloilo, particular na sa Carles, Balasan, Estancia, Batad, San Dionisio, Sara, Concepcion, Lemery at Ahoy. Sa northern Antique, particular na sa Libertad, Pandan, Sebaste, Culasi at Tibiao. Sa lalawigan ng Capiz, Aklan, sa southern Leyte at sa extreme northern Negros, Occidental, particular na sa Enrique B. Magalona, Victorias, Manapla, Cadiz, Sagay at Toboso. Samantala, warning signal number 2 rin na nakataas dito sa southern portion ng Quezon, particular na sa Mulanay, San Narciso, San Andres at San Francisco. Ganon din sa lalawigan ng Marinduque, Oriental at Occidental Mindoro, kasama dyan ang Lubang Island, Romblon, Albay, Sorsogon, Masbate, kasamang Burias at Ticao Island. Habang sa Mindanao naman, nakataas ang warning signal number 2 sa Dinagat Island. Warning signal number 1 naman, nakataas sa ilang bahagi ng Luzon. Pero it doesn't necessarily mean na sa mga oras na ito ay uulan at malakas po kagad ang hangin. Asahan natin within 12 to 24 hours ay posible nga maranasan ng mga pag-ulan, paminsan-minsan pagbugso ng hangin dito sa Bulacan, Bataan, Metro Manila, Rizal, Cavite, sa natitirang bahagi ng Quezon, sa Laguna, sa Batangas, Camarines Sur at Camarines Norte, sa Catanduanes, Northern Palawan, particular na sa Linapac, El Nido, Taytay, Araceli, Dumaran, San Vicente at Rojas, sa Calamian Island at sa Cuyo Island. Habang sa Visayas area naman, warning signal number 1 nakataas sa natitirang bahagi ng northern Cebu, particular na sa Carmen, Asturias, Tuburan, Catmon at Sogod. Ganon din sa central Cebu, particular na sa Aloginsan, Carcar City, Pinamungahan, San Fernando, Naga City, Toledo, Minglanilla, Balamban, Talisay City, Cebu City, Cordoba, Lapu-Lapu City, Mandaue City, Consolacion, Liloan, Compostela at Danau City. Sa Northeastern Bowl naman, particular po sa Inabanga, Danau, Dagohoy, Pilar, Gindulman, Anda, Candihay, Alicia, Buenavista, Getafe, Talibon, Trinidad, Bien Unido, San Miguel, Ubay, Mabini at sa President Carlos P. Garcia. So, number 1 din po sa natitirang bahagi ng Antique, natitirang bahagi ng Iloilo, sa lalawigan ng Guimaras, Northern Negros Occidental, particular sa Bacolod City, Bago City, Calatrava, La Carlota City, La Castellana, Moises Padilla, Binalbagan, Hinigaran, Isabela, Murcia, Pontevedra, Pulupandan, Salvador, Benedicto, San Carlos City, San Enrique, Silay City, Talisay City, Valladolid at sa Northern Negros Oriental, particular na dito sa may bandang Canlaon City, Gihulngan City, Jimalalud, La Libertad at Balehermoso. So sa Mindanao po, warning signal number 1 pa rin nakataas sa Surigao del Norte, kasama nga dyan Siargao at Bukas Grande Island. So sa mga babae natin nagtatanong, bakit may warning signal sa Metro Manila at sa ilang bahagi po ng Southern Luzon at Western Visayas, pero maliwanas pa ang panahon sa mga oras na ito. Hindi po nga, gaya nga nabanggit natin kanina, hindi agad-agad mararamdaman epekto, pero saan po natin? Simula po ngayong gabi, from the Eastern Visayas area, ay dahan-dahang mag-escalate ang masamang panahon towards the Central Visayas, Western Visayas, at pati na rin sa Southern Luzon area at ilang bahagi po ng Mindanao. So, within 12 to 24 hours, simula po ngayong hapon hanggang bukas, asahan po na yung pagsama ng panahon ay dahan-dahan ding mararanasan dito nga sa iba pang bahagi ng Kabisayan at sa ilang bahagi ng Southern Luzon, including Metro Manila.
At least 25 people died and 14 others were injured after a bus plunged into a ravine in Indonesia. The bus, carrying dozens of passengers, careened into a 115-meter ravine in South Sumatra province just before midnight on Monday and ended up in a river, police said earlier. Originally, the death toll given by police was 24, but the head of the local search and rescue team, Bertie Coas, said another body was found, taking the number to 25. The accident happened in a remote and steep area near the town of Pagar Alam, hampering the efforts to rescue the victims. According to a passenger manifest, the regional bus left Bengkulu province for Pagar Alam with 27 on board, but some survivors told police there were around 50 people inside when the accident happened.
Japanese government agency has proposed releasing radioactive water from the stricken Fukushima nuclear plant into the environment as storage space runs out. Take a look. The plant suffered a meltdown about 9 years ago after it was hit by an earthquake-triggered tsunami. About 1 million tons of contaminated water has built up since then, and the tanks that hold it are almost full. The government's Agency for Natural Resources and Energy on Monday proposed 3 ways to deal with the water: releasing it into the sea, into the air using vaporization, or a combination of the two. An extensive pumping and filtration system is in place at the plant, which each day brings up tons of newly contaminated water and filters out almost all radioactive elements. The process leaves only tritium, which experts say is only harmful to humans in very large doses. No decision was taken at Monday's meeting, but no members voiced opposition to the view that a technically realistic way is discharging the water into the sea or the air, according to the agency official. The panel has been discussing how to dispose of the liquid for years, and no deadline has been set for it to report to the environment. The radioactive water comes from several different sources, including water used for cooling at the plant groundwater that seeps into the plant daily and rainwater. Properly filtered Fukushima water could be diluted with seawater and safely released into the ocean without causing environmental problems, the International Atomic Energy Agency argues. Discharging it into the environment could trigger protests, however, not only from local fishermen and farmers, but also from neighboring countries. The treated water is currently kept in 1,000 huge tanks at the Fukushima Daiichi site. Plant operator TEPCO is building more tanks, but all will be full by the summer of 2022.
Nine people have reportedly died and 341 people have been infected as swine flu sweeps through Jordan. Footage from Monday shows Amman's al-Bashir Hospital, where some patients are being treated, as well as the Ministry of Health and local school.
الأعداد اللي تم تسجيلها ورصدها في الأردن هي 341 إصابة. بين هذه الإصابات كان في عندنا 9 وفيات. ال9 وفيات كانت من الفئات شديدة الخطورة، مثل مرضى القلب، مرضى السرطان، مرضى الأمراض المزمنة الأخرى. قامت وزارة الصحة بإجراءات عديدة حتى يتم السيطرة على هذا المرض. تم تعميم بروتوكول موحد لكافة المستشفيات الخاصة والحكومية والخدمات الطبية حتى يتم التعامل مع هذه الإصابات بشكل موحد. مرض الإنفلونزا الموسمية هو عبارة عن مرض فيروسي شديد العدوى والانتشار، يصيب الجهاز التنفسي وينتشر في الجو عبر الرذاذ الخارج من الفم والأنف للمصاب، وينتشر إلى المخالطين لهذا المصاب.
Awareness-raising campaigns are also being conducted inside schools, where teachers are instructing children on preventive measures to avoid spreading the virus. The swine flu is expected to spread across December and to last until the end of the month in the country.
دائما وابدا عقم ايديك منيح. ثانية حكينا انه دائما معي.
The United States has temporarily stopped sending bomb-detecting sniffer dogs to Jordan and Egypt after several of the animals died due to what U.S. officials say was lack of care. In a report out in September, the inspectors discovered numerous cases of negligence in the care of some 135 dogs, including Belgian Malinois, German Shepherds, Labradors, and other dogs trained in detecting explosives. The main concerns were with Jordan, the first beneficiary of the program, where one dog died due to inadequate care and another had to be euthanized upon its return to the U.S. A U.S. State Department official told reporters that the dogs, quote, play a critical role in our CT or counter-terrorism efforts overseas and in saving American lives.
We'll be back with more news right after this break.
Tungkulin ng MTRCV ang mag-provide na appropriate ratings sa lahat ng TV shows. Para ugaliin ng pamilya ang responsableng panonood. Teamwork tayo, parents!
Rated G, good for all. Oops, rated PG. Dapat may mga magulang para sagutin ang mga tanong ng kabataan.
Grabe, rated SPG, maselan!
Ipitan ang paggabay.
Pag rated MTRCV, rated responsable.
Net25 is now available on OSN, the largest entertainment network in the Middle East and North Africa.
Watch your favorite Net25 shows on OSN, channel 725, same day as the Philippines.
Net25 shows live and on demand anytime,
Anywhere or any mobile device on OSN Play.
President Rodrigo Duterte reiterated his willingness to accept Rohingya refugees fleeing war and persecution in Myanmar. Duterte also urged neighboring countries, Malaysia and Indonesia, to do the same.
Ako, I am prepared. I have communicated my desire na pagka yung mga Rakhine, yung mga Rohingya sa Burma, kung gusto nilang mag-migrate, tatanggapin ko sila. Hindi, ano kami, hati-hati kami. Malaki ang lupa natin. Kawawa naman yung mga tao doon. Ngayon sabi ko, maghati-hati tayo, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines. Ako, I'm ready to accept the Rakhine people. Magtanggap tayo noon ng Indonesia, Vietnamese, di ba? Panahon ng Amerikano dyan sa Palawan.
The Rohingya, often described as the world's most persecuted minority, are an ethnic group, majority of whom are Muslim, who have lived for centuries in Myanmar. Currently, there are about 1.1 million Rohingyas in the Southeast Asian country. The Philippines' open-door policy to refugees can be traced back to 1923, when the country took in the first wave of white Russians fleeing from the Socialist Revolution. According to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, the country also admitted Jewish refugees in 1934, Spanish Republicans in 1939, Chinese refugees in 1940, White Russians in 1949, Vietnamese boat people in 1975, Iranian refugees in 1979, Indo-Chinese refugees in 1980, and East Timor refugees in 2000.
Hundreds of protesters rallied on Edinburgh Square in Hong Kong as they condemned a recent decision by the police to shut down a fundraiser platform for protesters. Take a look.
The main themes of our rally today is to raise international attention of the police's politically charged financial crackdown on Spark Alliance and their threat to freeze their fund raised for protesters on the unfounded grounds of money laundering. We aim to hammer home to the world that the fact that the Chinese communist regime has now infringed upon our financial freedoms. We have long prided ourselves on being the world's freest economy and having the most efficient, freest flowing financial system for commerce and trade. But today we see our private assets being locked up and confiscated. Unbelievable as it sounds, the persecution of Spark Alliance by the regime shows us that this is now possible.
As we can see here, protesters rallying on the Harborside Plaza, waving flags and holding banners denouncing the government and the Chinese authorities in Beijing. The protesters were also filmed shining lights from their phones and singing "Glory to Hong Kong." Hong Kong has been rocked by protests sparked by a now withdrawn extradition bill since March. The rallies have since evolved into a wider movement against the government, marked by violent clashes between protesters and police.
A protest against the new Citizenship Amendment Act was led by Indian National Congress Party interim leader Sonia Gandhi and its former president Rahul Gandhi at Mahatma Gandhi's Memorial Rajghat in New Delhi. The rally was organized to show solidarity with those who took to the streets demanding the scrapping of the contested law and to oppose the violent crackdown on protesters. At the event, which was joined by hundreds of people, Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, and former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh read out the preamble of the Constitution they vowed to defend. Demonstrations have been taking place over the past 10 days over the bill entitling non-Muslim migrants from Afghanistan, Bangladesh, and Pakistan to Indian citizenship if they enter the country before 2015. Critics of the bill believe that it could result in further exclusion of some 200 million Muslims living in the country.
In a related news, at least 46 protesters, including students, were arrested as media reports during a protest against Citizenship Act outside the Uttar Pradesh Bhawan building in New Delhi on Monday. Take a look. So we can see here protesters being taken away by police vehicles, with some of the demonstrators also seen being put into a bus. According to reports, male protesters were taken to a police station while the female students were brought to their universities. Demonstrations have been held over the bill entitling non-Muslim migrants from Afghanistan, Bangladesh, and Pakistan to Indian citizenship if they entered the country before 2015. Now, critics of the bill believe that it could result in the further exclusion of some 200 million Muslims living in the country. In a speech on Sunday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi sought to reassure the Muslim community, saying they don't need to worry at all, and laying emphasis on India's diversity. In the coming few days, his party said it will contact more than 30 million families, organize countrywide rallies, and hold over 250 press conferences to dispel doubts over the new law. Authorities have imposed emergency laws, blocked internet access, a common tactic in India, and shut down shops in sensitive areas across the country in an attempt to contain the unrest.
In remote Indian Kashmir, people have been offline since August, lining up for hours to pay bills or using government internet kiosks as protests rage in other areas of India. It's something people outside the Himalayan region are also getting a taste of. Indian authorities, who according to activists lead the world when it comes to cutting the internet, snapped Kashmir's access when New Delhi scrapped the region's 7-decade-old autonomy.
इनकी न्यूज़ तो तब माने जब कुछ सॉल्व होगा।
Honestly speaking, we haven't made a single penny for the last 4 or 5 months, and the situation is very bad in terms of our business, and we don't see any hope right now. It's complete hopeless situation we are in right now.
इतने शॉर्ट नोटिस पे मैंने 1 घंटे पहले साहिबा को फोन किया, इन्होंने कहा फौजिया में हाजिर हूँ। इसी देश के सबसे बड़े एग्जाम के लिए आपको तैयारी करनी होगी। आप जब उठे इसी मोटर आज हम सब चाहते हैं कि हम सब मिलकर एक बेहतर भारत बनाएं। तो बताइए
And the holidays in France is set to be marred by the nearly 3-week standoff between French train drivers and the government over pension reforms. Take a look. The walkout has ruined travel plans for tens of thousands of ticket holders unable to reach loved ones in time for the holiday on Wednesday. Workers at the national SNCF and Parisian RATP rail and public transport companies have downed tools to protest at the government's plan to meld France's 42 pension schemes into a single points-based one, which would see some public employees lose certain privileges. There will be no surprises for those keen to travel on Tuesday, with up to 40% of high-speed rail and express regional trains cancelled, along with up to 20% of other trains. The SNCF has also announced that on Tuesday evening, trains between Paris and its suburbs will be stopped or halted. Some lines will reopen on Wednesday morning, others only on Thursday. Unions are angry about the government's plans, which would see some public employees, notably railway staff, lose early retirement and other benefits. And the government insists the new system would be fairer and more transparent. Their action is taking a heavy toll on businesses, especially retailers, hotels, and restaurants, during what should be one of the busiest periods of the year.
Schools in Iran's Tehran province have been ordered shut until Friday due to severe air pollution. Authorities announced extending their closure to a full week. Tehran city was cloaked by thick toxic smog for a third successive day on Monday that blanketed out landmarks like Milad Tower and the snow-capped Alborz Mountains. Governor Mohsen Banpi told reporters that forecasts indicated stable weather and increasing pollutant density across urban areas. Average airborne concentration of the finest and most hazardous particles, that's 2.5 ppm, was at 147 micrograms per cubic meter in the 24 hours to midday Monday, according to government website air.tehran.ir. That is close to 6 times the World Health Organization's recommended maximum of 25 micrograms per square meter. Pollution worsens in Tehran during winter when cold air and a lack of wind traps hazardous smog over the capital for days on end, a phenomenon known as thermal inversion.
Going now to Algeria, demonstrators there rejected a call for dialogue by the country's new president, insisting on a month-long protest movement's demands for sweeping reforms in the North African country. Take a look. Huge crowds flooded the streets of Algiers after establishment insider Abdelmajid Tebboune was sworn in following his victory in last week's presidential election. Tebboune, 74, succeeds President Abdelaziz Bouteflika, who resigned in April in the face of huge demonstrations after 2 decades in office. He renewed his offer to, quote, reach out to everyone during his swearing-in ceremony, but the protesters are demanding deep reforms they say should be carried out by transitional institutions with no ties whatsoever to members of the former political establishment. A former prime minister who served under Bouteflika, Tebboune is seen as close to Armed Forces Chief Lieutenant General Ahmed Gaid Salah, reviled by protesters and the de facto strongman since Bouteflika quit.
Algeria's powerful army chief General Ahmed Gaid Salah has died of a heart attack at age 79, state television reported Monday. Gaid Salah was seen as Algeria's de facto strongman following the April resignation of longtime President Abdelaziz Bouteflika in the face of massive protests against his bid for a 5th term. Watch this.
قايد بالنسبة لي أنا كإنسان جزائري إنسان كان خدام في خدمته، خدم بريود هذه اللي خدم فيها أحكم البلاد 9 شهور هذه نجمو نقولهم أصرى فيها حتى دقيقة، نحمدوا ربي الحمد لله وندعو له بالرحمة باسكو راه خونا رانا كاع جزائريين وربي يرحمه إن شاء الله.
الحوس والحرية، استقلال الجزائر، دولة القانون، لكل ذي حق حقه. أما بالنسبة لموت قايد صالح كان شيء طبيعي، الناس كلها حتموت. كاين اللي متعصبين يقول لك الله لا يرحم الأعظم، وكاين اللي يقول لك الله يرحمه. بالنسبة لي أنا ما يهمنيش أمره، وفاته المانية شي حق، وكنا نستناو فيه يموت بمناسبة الموت تاعو، ونتمناو يخلفوا إنسان صالح.
And before we go on a break, New Zealand police on Tuesday called off the search for 2 people missing after the White Island volcanic eruption. Authorities have recovered the bodies of 16 of the 18 people killed in the December 9 blast at the popular adventure tourist destination, but the 2 have not been found. There were 47 people, mainly Australian tourists, on the island when it erupted on December 9, and 25 remain in hospital. Many are still in a critical condition. And the news continues here on Eagle News. We'll be right back.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business every Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. Open for Business, from vision to action.
Russian President Vladimir Putin took a ride on the first train to cross the Crimean bridge that departed from Kerch on Monday. Take a look. Upon arriving at Taman Station, Putin delivered a speech and took part in a video call with St. Petersburg, from where the first passenger train departed to reach Crimea through the bridge. The Russian leader said the bridge would restore rail links to Crimea, severed in 2014, or severed in 2014 when Moscow annexed the peninsula, sparking an ongoing separatist conflict in eastern Ukraine that has claimed more than 13,000 lives.
У нас сегодня с вами приятное и очень важное событие. Оно важно и для Крыма, для Севастополя, для всего юга России, да, и для всей нашей страны. Потому что, безусловно, такие объекты инфраструктурного характера, как такой грандиозный мост, который вы построили, будет влиять на всю экономику. Но хочу вам сказать, что мы не запускаем его сначала, а мы восстанавливаем это движение. Потому что впервые это движение между Петербургом, а первый поезд будет Петербург-Севастополь, было организовано 145 лет назад. И за всю историю российского государства на протяжении последних лет прерывалось только 3 раза. Во время Октябрьской революции 17 года, затем во время Великой Отечественной войны и вот в 2014. Но вы восстановили это. Восстановили, правда, по-другому, но надежному, крепкому маршруту. Я вас с этим поздравляю. Это большое событие. И знаете, что еще важно? Важно не только, что после открытия автомобильного моста уже миллионы автомобилей проехало. И не то, что миллионы пассажиров будут перевезены уже в следующем году. А это тоже, конечно, большое событие. Планируется 14 миллионов пассажиров и около 13 миллионов тонн груза перевезти в следующем году. Важнее даже другое обстоятельство. Важнее то, что вы своей работой, своим талантом, настойчивостью и целеустремленностью показали, что Россия в состоянии делать такие мирового уровня инфраструктурные проекты. Ведь это самый большой мост не только в России, но по протяженности самый большой мост в Европе. И вы показали, что мы можем на основе своей собственной технологической базы осуществлять такие масштабные проекты. Это вселяет без всякого преувеличения практически в каждого из нас уверенность в том, что мы и другие подобного рода проекты можем и обязательно будем делать в будущем.
The construction of the 19-kilometer bridge, the longest in Russia, has been underway since February 2016.
Just steps from the U.S. Capitol, the museum's gleaming glass and steel structure has for over a decade been a shining symbol for the press and free expression. But in a reflection of the woes facing the U.S. media industry, which is itself struggling financially while also facing repeated attacks from political leaders, the museum will be closing its doors on December 31. Take a look.
The future of the museum is unclear at this time. It's going to take us at least 6 months to deinstall the exhibits and move them to our dedicated archive facility. After that process is complete, we're going to start looking at what the future holds for us. It could be another building institution like the museum as you've known it, but it could be something dramatically different. We don't know what that is. We want to be thoughtful about what the future is, and we want to be impactful.
popular mobile application developed in the United Arab Emirates has been removed from both Apple and Google's online marketplaces following a report it was used for widespread government spying. The moves come after the New York Times reported Saturday the app ToTalk allowed the UAE government to track the conversations, movements, and other details of people who installed it on their phone. Apple said that ToTalk was removed from its app store pending a review, while Google said it was taken down from the Play Store for a policy use. The Times reported that ToTalk used by millions in the UAE and the surrounding region, had been designed to look like an easy and secure way to send messages and videos in countries where other services are banned. The report said U.S. intelligence officials and a security researcher determined the app was being used by the UAE government for detailed surveillance. Security researcher Patrick Wardle, who assisted the newspaper, said in a blog post that ToTalk appears to be part of a mass surveillance operation which likely afforded in-depth insight in a large percentage of the country's population. Wardle said the app became popular by offering free calling and messaging to users where services such as Skype and WhatsApp are blocked, and that it was also promoted by what appeared to be fake reviews. Wardle said ToTalk appears to trick users of iPhones and Android devices into handing over access to their location and private data on their devices. In a blog post Monday, ToTalk said nothing of the spying allegations, but noted that the messaging app was temporarily unavailable in the Android and Apple marketplaces due to a technical issue.
In other tech news, the road sweeper and a golf buggy move around the track with ease, jamming their brakes on when a pedestrian steps out and negotiating sharp turns. Welcome to Singapore's Self-Drive Test Center, complete with traffic lights and mock skyscrapers, which is at the heart of the city's push to become a hub for autonomous technology. Take a look.
This facility is purposely built to test autonomous vehicles and get them ready for trials on public roads. We do believe that most of the trialing needs to be done on the public roads. However, before you're ready to go on the public roads, we test them here to see if they're actually ready.
All the boxes are not ticked yet. So the legislation considerations need to be ticked. The standards are important. The insurance companies are important. The liability in terms of who's responsible if there is an accident. All of these questions are really being hotly debated in all our industry discussions and industry roundtables. So we have given ourselves between now and 2022 to address most of these concerns.
ABC correspondent Eribel Celestino visits Milan and shows us some of the best foods to try out. Watch this.
Everyone, I am Eribel Celestino and I have a question. When you hear people talking about Italia or Italy, what's the first thing that crosses your mind? I certainly think about food. Pizza, pasta, gelato, tiramisu. I'm in Italy, and now that it's summer season, I'll show you the typical food Italians get to eat in a fine summer day here in Milan. Let's go!
Milan is such a beautiful city, and with a weather like this, it is only right to go around while eating gelato. Gelato or ice cream is a typical frozen Italian dessert. Surely you cannot say no to ice cream. Hazelnut, mango, and sometimes coconut are my favorite flavors. But there are so many flavors you can choose from. Pizza. What's pizza? Well, everybody must know what pizza is. Pizza is usually round, sometimes squared, and it consists of wheat-based dough, tomato sauce, and cheese. These are the main ingredients for the well-known margherita pizza. Granita, also known as granita siciliana, is a semi-frozen dessert usually served as a slush-type drink. In simple terms, think of a crushed-up fruit popsicle. It's really refreshing, and it's perfect for a hot summer day.
If you ever visit Italy during summer, don't miss out on the food. From Milan, Italy, I am Erbel Celestino, ABC correspondent, and I am 1 with 25.
Thank you, Aribel. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Tumblr. Also check out our boards and Pinterest and pictures on Instagram. I'm Sam Cepeda. Thanks for joining us.
That's the news for tonight. I'm Alma Angeles. For everyone here on Eagle News, we're
one with 25.
Susunod na programa ay rated PG. Ito ay nangangailangan ng patnubay at gabay ng magulang para sa mga batang manonood.
Nangarap at nagsikap para sa kinabukasan niya. Bumuo ng sariling pamilya at nagplano para sa maayos na buhay. Ngunit paano kung sa isang iglap, magbago ang lahat?
Nakapagtrabaho po ako sa Bangkok, Thailand. Binata po ako noon. Taong 2013 po ay ako po ay nakapag-asawa. Kinasal po kami dito sa Pilipinas at bumalik din po sa Bangkok, Thailand after po ng kasal.
After 1 year po, simula nung kinasal kami eksakto, pinanganak ko po yung panganay kong anak. After po ng 1.5 taon, ipinanganak ko naman po yung bunso kong anak. Sa Thailand din po.
Paris, come here. One is waiting for you. Wait for Paris. Go up. Okay, ready? Steady.
Unang-una po yung makapag-ipon po kami para po may maipatayo po kaming bahay sa Pilipinas. Para po pag gusto na po naming umuwi for good, meron po kaming matutuluyan. Kahit pagod na pagod po siya sa trabaho, hindi po niya nakakalimutan yung tungkulin niya bilang ama, tsaka bilang asawa. Kaya ang ginagawa po niya minsan, kunyari po magluluto po ako, inaagaw niya po, para siya na lang daw po magluluto. Talaga pong tinutulungan niya po ako.
3 taon mula nang sila ay ikasal, nagsimula nang magbago ang lahat.
Taong 2016 po, pinanganak po yung pangalawa namin. Doon po, habang nasa hospital, ako po ay nahilo. Kaya nagpa-blood pressure po ako doon sa nurse na nagbabantay po sa misis ko. Yung umabot po ng 200 over 160 po yung blood pressure ko. Binigyan lang po ako ng nurse na pampababa ng blood pressure. Tapos hindi ko na po pinansin.
Nagpa-check up po siya. Pag tinatanong ko po siya pag umuwi, wala po siyang maisagot. Sabi lang daw po ng doktor, mag-diet daw po siya.
Nagpapalaboratory naman po ako. Kaya lang po, hindi po may palawanag sa akin dahil hindi po sila marunong mag-English. Binigyan po ako ng mga gamot na pampababa daw po ng blood pressure dahil yung kidney ko daw po ay not good. Yun na po lagi sabi, not good. Request po ng doktor na nagpa-check up ako na ako po ay magpa-biopsy.